Hey, my feel good friend. Welcome to the Feel Good Social podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm laughing right now because I literally have all three dogs around me right now as I'm recording, which is kind of a gamble, if we're honest. If you're new to the podcast, you may not know that Brett and I have three dogs, a large dog named Tarkin, a medium dog named Sand, and a little mini dog named Willie. He's actually a puppy. He's turning a year next month. And so whenever I record these episodes with them nearby, it's always something, right? It's always like Tarkin is snoring, or Stan is barking, or Willie is doing what he's currently doing, which is chewing on the stuffed monkey that I used for this year's Halloween costume. So anyway, I don't know what kind of noises the mic will pick up. I don't think they'll be that bad, but I do always like to give you a warning when I start recording these types of episodes because we all know life can happen. And if you hear random noises, just know that it's like not my stomach or something. Okay, let's dive into today's topic. I am super, super stoked to be in your earbuds because we are expanding on last week's topic of brand collaborations. So if you missed last week's episode 147 of the Feel Good Social podcast, I deep dove into how you can partner with other brands online to support each other, to help boost each other's visibility and grow each other's audiences and boost each other's sales, right? Brand collaborations are awesome for really developing community and a network of people who can support each other, who can recommend each other and all that stuff. And they're also just super, super fun. So last week's episode was diving into the strategy of that, like why these are really helpful, who you should partner with in a brand collaboration, how to go about planning brand collaborations, and also how to approach other brands and ask them if they want to collaborate, right? So if you haven't listened to last week's episode, definitely go back and give it a listen because it's kind of like the starter for this episode this week. And today I'm going to be sharing 8 specific fun ways that you can actually collaborate with brands on social media specifically, right? So we're going to be talking about Instagram collab reels. We'll be talking about story takeovers. We'll be talking about joint giveaways, joint pop-up sales, lots of different things, 8 of them to be specific. So I'm going to be talking really, really fast in today's episode. Hopefully I don't stumble over my words too terribly much. And I do want to say before we dive in, this definitely may be an episode that you want to go grab a pen and paper for, or whip out your phone, your notes app, just to jot down ideas as they're coming to you, because I'm going to be going through 8 different ways that you can join up and partner with other brands and create content on Instagram that is collaborative for both of you and just super fun. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. Hey friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm here to help you market your business in a genuine way that works without wasting your precious time. On this show, we chat about social media strategy and mindset tips with a focus on, you guessed it, feeling good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some genuine conversation for the good of your biz. Real quick, have I invited you to join the Feel Good Social Club yet? Oh man, my friend, I would love for you to check out our new monthly membership for down-to-earth entrepreneurs who are ready to create content with ease, actually show up and strategically market your business online every month, and also make friends with rad down-to-earth entrepreneurs who are just like you, who get it, who are in the posting trenches with you, and who are ever ready to give you a friendly air high five or kick in the accountability booty whenever you need it. The Feel Good Social Club is where it is at. Check it out, feelgoodsocial.com/club. In the club, we have a content library full of Canva templates and tutorials and resources to help you make content creation as easy as possible. We also have monthly content planning workshops where we all come together and talk about the upcoming month's strategy for our content. And we also have community forums where you can get together, ask questions of other club members, brainstorm ideas, ask for feedback. So definitely check it out. feelgoodsocial.com/club. Our Feel Good members are seriously some of the most amazing people that I have ever met. And I would love for you to join us. feelgoodsocial.com/club. Check it out. Join today. We would love to see you in there, my friend. All right, let's dive back into today's episode. All right, my friend. So update on the dog sitch. Stan has decided to hop onto the couch next to me and lay on my puffy winter jacket, right? It's one of those kind of like puffy coats with like the feathers in it or whatever, and it kind of makes that like swoosh, swoosh sound. You know what I'm talking about? So anyway, if you hear that, that's just what's going on. Just had to give you like a visual of my life and stuff. He's pretty much on my lap, cuddling with my down jacket, and he's deciding to groan because Willie's trying to cuddle with him now. So anyway, that's what's happening over here on this side of the mic. I hope that you can relate over there on your side of the mic too. Okay, let's talk about 8 fun ways that you can collaborate with other brands on social media. And like I said, last week's episode 147 is actually deep diving into the strategy behind this, right? Like what I'm talking about, why this is so helpful in so many different ways for both brands who are deciding to collaborate. I also do share tips for how to give yourself a pep talk if you're feeling kind of like nervous or weird about collaborating with other brands, right? Because that's definitely a thing. Feeling like the scarcity mindset, feeling a little bit jealous over other people's success, or feeling like other people are competition instead of like a part of your community that you can build upon. That's a normal thing for a lot of us to deal with. And so in last week's episode, I gave you different like mindset shifts and reframes that you could pull out of your back pocket if you're ever feeling that way. So if that's something you're dealing with, that episode is also for you. So go back and listen to it if you haven't yet, or if you have any questions during today's episode, you can always reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at Feel Good Social. Give me a follow, send me a message, let me know that you came from the podcast, and you can totally ask me any questions in the DMs over there too. Make sure that you do give me a follow and send me a message if you give me a follow, right? Just because I do try to follow most people back who follow me, but if I miss you, I don't want to miss you. I want to give you a follow so we can connect over there. So just make sure that you send me a message letting me know that you came from the podcast, and I will totally give you a follow back, right? All right. So when it comes to the 8 fun ways that we can collab with other brands on social media, I quickly just wanted to give you an overview once again of the what, the why, the how when it comes to brand collaborations. So what I'm talking about today is basically anytime you partner up with another brand, specifically on social media, it looks like often creating content of some sort or hosting a pop-up sale or promotion of some sort. You're basically coming together, collaborating, working together with another brand in a way that benefits both of you, right? And I say benefits both of you because it really is important to think about how this collaboration is not only going to benefit your brand, but also benefit the brand that you are collaborating with. Because I think that makes it easier in the process of figuring out the collaboration if you're both on the same page, if you both know how it's going to benefit each other. And also, brand collaborations can really benefit your ideal customers as well, right? So when you collaborate with other brands, not only is it actually like fun for you and easier to show up online often, especially as solopreneurs. Believe me, I know how lonely it can feel to be like the only one in your business doing all the work and, having to show up online alone, and it can feel scary and lonely. And so believe me when I say that collaborating with other people is just fun to like chat through ideas. It's fun to not be the only one having to create content. It's fun to be able to feel like you're partnering with someone, right? So it's fun for you. It's great for them. And for your ideal customer, this is often really, really helpful because you are recommending another brand who can also help them, right? So when you collaborate with another brand, I mean, let's be honest, like there's no business in the world that is just like the one-stop shop for every single one of our human needs, right? Like you can't really and shouldn't really just completely be able to do everything for your ideal customer that they are needing in their life, right? And so it's always really nice to like recommend another brand or another business that is also helpful to them, right? Not only is this helpful for them, but it also kind of helps them trust your brand more in a way. And it helps you actually develop a deeper relationship with your ideal customer if you can recommend all these other people, right? Brand collaborations also really help us to boost our visibility online, right? Because two brands are pushing out content. That means technically twice the visibility, but not always, but still it like helps you to reach more people online and for more people to be aware of your posts. It's also really, really helpful because when you partner with a brand who has a very similar ideal customer to yours, then you are actually helping each other to grow your audience of warm leads, right? So by that, I mean, it's like if you are recommending this other brand to your people, your followers who you have spent time nurturing, the community that you have spent time growing, that you've been having conversations with, that you've been building trust with, right? When you recommend this other brand to your people, they are going to be warmed up to this other brand, right? Just because of their relationship with you, because they trust you, they're going to be more likely to go follow that brand, to interact with that brand, to eventually buy from that brand. They're warmed up to them because of the recommendation coming from you, right? And the flip side of that is true as well. When the brand you're collaborating with recommends you to their warmed up audience who trusts them, who love them and all that stuff, those people are going to be warmed up to you already because of the recommendation coming from this brand that you're partnering with, right? So it's really, really a win-win. And I really like to point out the difference between it's not like you're partnering with a brand and you're just both putting yourself out to like this all the world, to all the people who don't know who you are, who know nothing about your brands, anything like that, who are quote unquote cold to your brands, right? Like, no, you're coming together and you're promoting each other to each other's audiences who are already warm to each other's brands. And in that way, they'll already be somewhat warm to your brands, right? So that's just like pointing out kind of how much more valuable this is, collaborating with brands and being able to really cross over each other's warm audiences, right? And like build each other's trust up. It can also obviously help you boost your sales. Like if you are collaborating with a brand in a way that is very promotional, such as a giveaway or a pop-up sale or something like that, awesome. And obviously, hopefully you will immediately get a boost to your bottom line and make sales from this collaboration, right? But also, I mean, even if you are just collaborating over kind of more of a fun content thing, just like one collaboration reel on Instagram or something, just to try to help boost each other's visibility and have a crossover with your audiences and stuff, even if that's your only goal, I still really believe that down the line, someone from their audience who came to you from their audience will eventually purchase from you. And so it's really long-term going to boost your sales too, right? So anyway, those are just some reasons why you might want to do a collaboration with another brand. Before we get into the 8 fun ways of how you can actually do this on social media, I do want to say, you can go back and listen to 147 if you want kind of more of an in-depth look into the strategy behind this stuff, who you should partner with, how you should go about partnering with them, and how you can approach them and ask them to collaborate with you, right? But something to think about as I'm going through these 8 different ideas for collabs on social media, just always remember to keep in mind these things, okay? Remember both of your goals, okay? So I'm going to be listing off 8 different ways that you can collaborate with people, and they all kind of have different purposes, right? And so when it comes to choosing how you want to collaborate with a brand, it's important to remember, what do we want to get out of this collaboration, right? Are we trying to immediately boost our sales? Well, then maybe we should host a joint giveaway or a joint pop-up sale together, right? Are we just trying to boost our audiences and get to know each other's audiences a little bit more? Maybe this is like before a collaboration later on where you do want to host a pop-up sale. So you're trying to warm each other's audiences up to each other or something like that, right? Then that's maybe when you want to do a real collaboration or Instagram story takeover instead or something like that, right? There's not really one size fits all collaboration, strategy or whatever, right? It's up to you to really keep in mind both of your goals when it comes to this. What do you guys want to get out of it? And then choose how you want to collaborate in a way that makes sense, that's going to help you meet those goals, right? It's also good to keep in mind the expectations that you both have and the amount of work you're both willing to put into a collaboration, right? So if you're trying to be super strategic with your collaborations, then yes, maybe you want to have a conversation with your brand partner, collaborator, right? And be like, I think that this will be really great to boost our sales through the holiday season, through the end of the year. I think that we should definitely come at this full force and both designate time and effort and energy into this collaboration so that we can make it the most successful possible, right? But if you're just trying to have fun, if you're just trying to make friends, if you're just trying to show your support for other brands online, and that's kind of the expectations you both have, and that's kind of your feeling going into it, then it's also okay to just not designate a lot of time or effort or energy into it. Not as much as it would take for, multiple collaboration efforts, multiple things, you know what I mean? So just keep these things in mind, and it's up to you to decide, what do we want our brand collaborations to look like, right? Another thing to think about too, and it kind of piggybacks off what I just said, is, if you are really looking to be strategic with brand collaborations, through the holiday season, if you want to partner up with some other brands that really make sense and complement your brand to help you boost holiday sales and all that jazz, then definitely approach this in the most strategic way. And I want to give you permission right now to implement multiple of these ideas that I'm about to share with you, because you don't just necessarily want to do one collaboration reel and then call it a day. If your goal is to truly boost both of your sales through the holiday season, one collaboration reel ain't gonna do it, right? This is kind of one of those marketing things that we talk about a lot, but our attention spans are so minimal these days that you really need to be hitting people with the same information or similar information again and again and again in all the different areas and all the different ways for them to actually take action on something, right? For them to actually see your post, for it to sink in, for them to then go take action on it and buy from you. We need to be talking about things over and over. We need to be showing up again and again, right? That's just a part of the strategy in life at this point. And the same goes for your collaborations, right? So if you're really trying to be strategic with these, then I want to encourage you to think through the whole big picture of your collaborations with this brand that you want to partner with and think, okay, can we do a reel and an Instagram story takeover? And then that leads into an Instagram live and an Instagram giveaway and whatever, and then also think about the stuff outside of social media, right? Because that's helpful too. Can you send emails to each other's email lists? Can you, write guest blog posts for each other's blog or interview each other on each other's podcasts or anything like that, right? Think about the full big picture strategy if you are trying to really make this collaboration successful and for a specific goal too, you know what I mean? And then to caveat that, I also just want to say that if you are feeling overwhelmed by anything I'm saying, if you feel like, oh my gosh, these are so many great ideas, I need to do all of them next month or anything like that, I also want to give you permission to just choose one to do really something fun, collaborate with another brand, just have fun with it. None of these things are things that you have to do on social media, right? So, I always like to to tell you, yeah, go full force, and then always kind of backpedal and be like, but if you're feeling overwhelmed or you don't have time or you're frustrated or you don't know what to choose, remember that you don't have to do all of these things. You are totally allowed to not collaborate with brands on social media and you can still see success, or, choose something fun and start small. Start with one of these collaboration ideas, right? So, okay, that is my whole spiel when it comes to collaborations. Let's dive into the 8 fun ways that you can collaborate with people on social media. And again, I'm going to be talking fast and trying to get through all 8 of them in a reasonable amount of time. So let's go ahead and do this thing. The first way you can collaborate with people on social media with other brands and whatnot is what is called a collaboration reel. Okay. And I'm calling it a collaboration reel because specifically on Instagram, you have the capability to tag someone as a collaborator in your reels, right? And it's kind of this trend that is happening that I've seen quite a few content creators doing and stuff, brands partnering up with each other to create one joint reel where maybe both parties record part of the video, right? To go along with a certain audio or something. Or maybe it's just like creating some sort of reel that makes sense for both of your audiences, right? And then you can actually tag the other brand as a quote unquote collaborator, and the post will show up on both of your Instagram grids, right? When you tag someone as a collaborator, then the reel will show up on both of your grids as if you both created the post, right? And this is something that you can recreate in a few different ways. I'm pretty sure you can do it on TikTok as well, actually. And you can totally take this idea of creating a collaborative post for like different types of posts, and it doesn't have to be a reel, but we're going to call it a collaborative reel for this one because it's really, really fun to kind of create a reel together with another brand and both call it like your own post, right? Have that reel show up on both of your guys' grids and profiles and all of that stuff. And so it is really great for reach to create a collaboration reel because on Instagram, I mean, reels are still getting the best reach in general. I mean, some people might argue it's definitely taken a plummet lately if your reels aren't getting very good reach. Don't worry, mine aren't either, whatever. But like reels are still performing the best out of most posts in general on Instagram, right? So creating a reel is a great idea for that. And then when you both are tagging each other in the post, when you're both collaborators on the same post, Instagram is more likely to promote that post and boost that post to your 2 separate audiences, right? So you might more possibly get more eyes on this collaborative reel, and reels are performing better anyway. Also, you might want to create a collaborative reel because it's fun. It's really, really fun to come together and chat with another brand and think, okay, how could we create a reel that would make sense for both of our audiences, right? Like, what's a pain point that both of our audiences have? What's a tip that both of our audiences would find helpful? What's an audio that's maybe like a 2-part audio that we could both like record videos for with like dub over audio and like make it make sense for our brands together, right? Like, I think it's so much fun. I've done several collaborative reels with my Feel Good Social Clubbers. I remember one specifically was we were going back and forth on a Dennis the Menace audio from like the movie Dennis the Menace or whatever. And I forget if I was Dennis or if I was whatever the old man's name is in Dennis the Menace, which I'm forgetting right now. But anyway, my Feel Good Social Clubber, Cassie, was one part of the audio. I was the other part of the audio. And I'm trying to remember, I think that we were talking about like hooks for captions. Oh no, it was called actions. It was called actions in your captions. And it makes sense for her audience because she's a copywriter. It makes sense for my audience because Feel Good Social media marketing, right? And so it was really fun to create this reel, to find an audio that was kind of like a dual audio. We could both record our parts, mesh them together. And then it was on a topic that made sense for both of our industries and both of our audiences, right? So what does that look like for you and the brand that you want to collaborate with? A few things to consider is, just like what makes the most sense for both of us, and what will make the most sense for both of our audiences. Because put yourself in your followers' shoes, right? When people are consuming this collaboration reel, it's just popping up in their Instagram feed. And to them, it looks like it's just a post coming from you kind of thing, right? They can obviously see that the other brand is also tagged and whatnot, but they are just like, used to you and your brand. And so you want to make sure that the way that you create the reel, the topic that you're talking about, the way you write the caption makes sense for your ideal customer as if it's showing up on their feed, and also the other brand's ideal customer as if it's showing up on their feed as well, right? So just keep that in mind when you are trying to figure out, okay, how can we create a collaborative reel? A few things that you could kind of play off of are what's something that's funny and relatable, right? I love the dual part audio things like Dennis the Menace. I've done one with The Office with like Jim and Dwight talking back and forth to each other, like with one of my Feel Good Social Clubbers. Oh, I just think that they're so fun. You can try to think of something that's helpful for both of your audiences, right? Maybe you share a tip or multiple tips in a reel that would be helpful for both of your audiences when they see the reel. You could do something that's inspiring, sharing like an inspiring quote or something like that. You could also just share something that's interesting, like a fun fact or, a statistic of some sort, but just make sure that they make sense for both of your audiences because the collaboration reel is going to be showing up on both of their feeds and looking like it's coming from each of you. Right? So that's something to think about for the collaboration reel. Okay. The second way you can collaborate with someone on social media is with a story takeover. Okay. So I like to think of this as Instagram. Instagram's kind of always been my jam when it came to the social media platform of choice, right? But there are several other platforms that have quote unquote the story type posts, right? TikTok is doing it now. I know that YouTube is doing it. Pinterest has idea pins. There's different story type of posts on different platforms for sure. But for this one, I'm specifically probably going to be referencing Instagram, right? But basically a story takeover is when you collaborate with another brand and post on each other's stories, right? So think of this as like a sequence of stories that you will quote unquote take over for their account and post to their stories. And I love story takeovers, and you don't see people doing them quite as often anymore, right? But they're really fun and interactive is one thing that I love about them. There's a lot of interactive features on Instagram stories that you can use. It's easier to have conversations with people in a lot of ways. Ow. Sorry, guys. My puppy is currently chewing on my hand. So if you hear little squeaks, it's him chewing on my hand. And I might say ow again. Willie, stop. Okay. Anyway, Instagram stories. They're fun and interactive. Instagram stories are really easy to get a conversation started with people, right? Because they feel more personable and relatable. Showing up on someone else's Instagram stories could feel more personal and casual for your brand. And it's a really great way to get the conversation started with another person's audience, right? You also don't see them happening quite as often anymore. So I think it's kind of one of those fun ways that you can create some sort of different content and maybe stand out a little bit online. But remember, with Instagram stories, they do only last for 24 hours. So it's one of those things that, it does take quite a bit of time, I think, and thoughtfulness to create an Instagram story takeover sequence. So you really need to consider, do I want to spend this time and energy creating this Instagram story takeover sequence for it only to last like 24 hours? And then also, another thing that you could think about is it is possible for the person that you're collaborating with to pin the story to their Instagram story highlights, right? So that could be another option and something that you just want to discuss with the person you're collaborating with. Okay, should we do Instagram story takeovers and then pin each other's Instagram story takeovers to each other's story highlights for maybe, a week, 2 weeks, or even a month, depending on how long you want the collaboration to last, right? So that could be another option for the Instagram story takeovers. A few things to consider when you do Instagram story takeovers is the story that you're telling, right? Remember, again, to consider how you can present present yourself to the person who you're collaborating with audience via Instagram stories in a way that makes sense to the people who are viewing it, right? So you are hopping onto someone else's account's stories and just showing up, right? And so you really need to put yourself in their audience's shoes and think, how can I present myself in a way that makes sense? So think of it as the story that you're telling and the sequence that you're telling. First, you want to start with introducing yourself and your brand and tell people why you're doing this takeover, right? Then I would say, give them a reason to keep watching and paying attention throughout the day to your Instagram story takeover. So, that could be just giving helpful info, telling people, hey, I'm going to be showing up throughout the day, giving a little insight into what I do, but also sharing very helpful tips for X or something like that, right? It could be offering a discount to their audience or something like that, Stick with me through the end of the day. I'll be sharing 50% off to this thing that you really want, right? Like, first, introduce yourself. Second, tell them why this is happening. Why did you guys decide to collaborate? What exactly is going on? And then give them a reason to keep watching, whether that's sharing helpful tips to them and or offering them a discount of some sort or whatever it is. But give them a reason to be interested in this Instagram story takeover that is happening, right? Also think about, how can I use interactive features, right? So Instagram stories have a lot of awesome things that I think are underutilized, in my opinion. We have the Instagram polls feature, which I love. And I honestly think that if you can use a poll in someone else's story and then see who votes on that poll, like, wow, that's going to be so great. There's the question boxes, there's like the slidey thing, you could even just ask a question and then say, respond to this, like if you're interested or whatever it is. Think about how you can encourage people to interact with the stories for your Instagram story takeovers. And then, think about, how can I use these interactive features to help boost the experience that I'm giving people through the story takeover? And then, you always want to think about, how are you going to do this, and the logistics of it. With Instagram story takeovers, there's a couple different options. You could always record the stories and create the content beforehand and then send the stories to the person for them to post on their account day of in the sequence that you want it posted, right? Or you could give each other access to each other's accounts. It's up to you guys, but there's always a few logistical things that you want to hash out with whoever you're partnering with before the day of or whatever, right? Do you know what your brand vibe is on Instagram? I have a new fun quiz that's just for you, my friend. I, of all people, know how hard it is to figure out how the heck you're supposed to translate your brand to the gram. And with this quick 7-question quiz, we will help you hone in on your brand's personality, voice, and visuals so that you can show up consistently and create content that looks beautiful and feels on brand for you. This quiz is so awesome. It's been a long time coming, and I know that you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Plus, the results will help you show up in the best way for you. If you'd like to check out our new brand vibe quiz, just head to feelgoodsocial.com/quiz. Pretty easy. Head to feelgoodsocial.com/quiz to find out what your brand's vibe is on social media and start showing up there for your brand. Okay, moving along, because I know I'm already, going too slow for this 8-topic episode. So let's go ahead and do the next one. The next way you can collaborate with a brand on Instagram is through live videos, right? And actually, it doesn't just have to be Instagram. You can do live videos on Facebook. You can do live videos on YouTube. Lots of different ways you can do live videos, even Pinterest nowadays, and TikTok as well. But basically, when you do a live video together, it's when you're doing like an in-the-moment video. You're recording live, and people can hop on and have in-the-moment conversations with you guys. Live videos feel very, very kind of vulnerable, and they actually help you to nurture the trust of your audience even more so, right? They're also really, really great for having conversations, and they feel more personal and casual. I really like to use live video for like interviews, right? And or doing a Q&A with your audience that is like helpful that you could both put input on, right? So it's like maybe a branding expert and a web design expert hop on a live video and they announce it to their audiences as, hey, we're doing a Q&A together. Come ask us your branding and website questions. You know what I mean? And then you can both, filter through and give your opinions on the different questions and whatnot, right? Live videos are really awesome for collaborating. When you hop on a live video with someone else, on Instagram at least, it will usually send a notification to people in both of your audiences, right? So people from both audiences will be hopping on the live video, and you can intermix and mingle and all that different stuff. A few things to consider are what is the point of the video, right? Why should people watch this live video? Give a reason that makes sense for both of your audiences, because people aren't going to watch a video unless you tell them what's in it for them, right? So just make sure that you have a point to the video that's very clear and that makes sense and is enticing for both of your audiences, right? Also, I think it's a good idea to decide on the format of the video before you hop on a live video, right? Think about, do we want this to be interview style where one of us is kind of asking the other one more questions? Do we want this to be Q&A where it's like our audience is asking us questions and we're giving input, right? Like, what do we want the format of the live video to be? Because once you hop on a live video, it's like a little bit awkward if you're like still trying to figure things out and you don't really know the point or the format or any of that stuff. And then that said, I want you to think about, how can I prep for the video, right? Do we want to create an outline? Do we want to decide who kicks off the discussion, right? That's always a good thing I like to start with is, okay, who's going to talk first? Because once we get the ball rolling, it's a little bit easier to go back and forth and play it by ear, right? But it's always that like initial, like, hello. That's always a little scary for people. So decide who is going to kick off the discussion for your live videos. Okay, the fourth way you can collaborate with someone else on social media is to trade offers and then review each other's offer, right? So this is kind of one that you can do in a lot of different formats, right? So the first three were kind of like specific formatted posts that you can collaborate on with people. This is more of a general idea that you can create whatever you want out of it, right? But I think it's a super cool idea to partner with another brand if you could both use each other's services in a way, right? And you might need to do some finagling when it comes to payment and the specifics of the trade and all that different stuff, right? But it's a super cool idea to come together and give each other's services to each other or give each other's products to each other, right? Especially if it's beneficial to both of you to utilize each other's offers in some way. And then on the backside, you can give each other reviews to your audience and really help to boost each other's offers. And you can then say from experience, both of you, yes, I love this offer. It helped me so much in these ways. I think it will help you too because blah, blah, blah. right? And it's really, really kind of fun to be able to actually recommend another brand from an experience that you have actually had with them, right? It's not just because you trust them. It's not just because you think that they would be really great for your ideal customers. No, I've used this thing and it's really good, right? So I think that could be really, really fun for a lot of us to do. It will help build trust with each other's audiences. And it's really great if it does benefit both parties, right? So if you're choosing to trade offers with someone who you could really use what they're selling and they could really use what you're selling. And then when you recommend it, it just helps to build trust with your audience and with their audience, right? So anyway, a few things to consider when it comes to trading offers and giving each other reviews are like, what format do you want to share the reviews or testimonials in, right? Like, should you guys receive each other's services or products and then hop on your Instagram stories and like show like each other, using them or whatever it is? Do you want to give like a video testimony? Do you want to do live video after, just talk about each other's offers, anything like that? Maybe 2 live videos, even one to talk about one party's offer, the other to talk about the other party's offer, right? Just decide on the format and what you want that to look like before you even go into this, because that's when it gets awkward and messy, is when you don't decide on expectations and all the rules beforehand. And then you get in it and you're like, well, I thought this. And the other person's like, well, I thought that. And you're like, no, it's confusing, right? So decide on that beforehand. Then also remember to think about, as you are giving a review of this other brand's offer to your audience, right? So you've taken advantage of their services or you've gotten their products and tried them out. And now it's time for you to review their service or product to your audience, right? And talk about it to their audience. It's always important to remember to talk about it in a way that makes sense for your audience, right? So maybe you got a certain kind of benefit from this service, but that's not exactly what's the most enticing to your ideal customers, right? So present their offer that you have just tried out to your ideal customers in a way that makes sense to your ideal customers, that will make them go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, I need this, right? So those are just a couple things to think about. Okay, the 5th way that you can collaborate with another brand on social media is to host a giveaway together, right? And this is one of those super fun things, and I could spend an entire episode talking about this for sure. But Instagram giveaways are something that definitely has been like very, very popular in the past. They're somewhat slowing down, but I still think that they're very fun. And I actually had a Feel Good Social Clubber last month tell me, I took your suggestion for hosting a giveaway for gathering some warm leads, and I didn't have a lot of high expectations for it, but oh man, I got 30 warm leads. And she actually just hosted a giveaway herself, right? Just like not collaborating with another brand. So what you could do is partner with another brand and both give away something, both contribute to whatever it is that you're giving away, both promote the giveaway together, right? Both work together to grow your following and all that different stuff. And really, it's again, one of those 2 brands are better than one sort of thing. It's just another way to kind of like accelerate or grow the success you might see from a giveaway if you were just hosting it individually, right? So it's really great. Giveaways are awesome because they're fun and interactive for people. People love getting free stuff, and it helps to boost your engagement on both of your accounts, right? It gets people excited about both of your brands together, right? And keep both your brands in mind when they're looking to buy from you guys in the future. It's easier to give away a cooler prize if you partner with someone for a giveaway, right? Because sometimes we can like just host a giveaway ourselves, but it's like, I don't know if I have like more than $300 to spend on like something that I'm going to give away, right? Or even that is like a lot, you know what I mean? But people on Instagram are kind of lazy, and they, sometimes don't want to enter a giveaway if it's just giving away a pair of socks or something like that they don't care about that much or that isn't that cool. So when you partner with another brand, you guys can both contribute to the prize, and the giveaway feels cooler and more exciting for people who are entering it, right? And then finally, I love giveaways so much because it creates a pool of warm leads for your business. So this is what I was talking about with my Feel Good Social Clubber the other month, is if you host a giveaway of some sort, especially if it's like one of your offers or something, then people who are entering that giveaway are basically telling you, hey, I'm interested in this. Hey, I want this thing. You know what I mean? And so one person wins the giveaway. Amazing. But then at the end of the day, you have all of the people who entered your giveaway as like warm leads who have basically told you, yes, I'm interested. Yes, I want this, right? And there's different ways that you can go about kind of nurturing them after the giveaway and maybe, helping them get to a place where they would want to buy what you were giving away anyway, right? But it's just one of those things to think about. Giveaways are awesome for that sort of thing because basically you are creating an entire list of people who are interested in your offer. So I love giveaways for that reason, especially, right? Okay, a few things to consider with the giveaway is what makes the most sense for you to give away to both of your audiences, right? So do you guys have complimentary offers, right? That would probably be the best because then people are showing that they are interested in your services or products, right? Which then helps with the whole warm lead thing I was just talking about. So maybe if you're a brand designer and then you're partnering with a web designer, you are actually giving away a branding package paired with a website package. I mean, that would be amazing. I would enter that giveaway. And then you both have a pool of warm leads once the giveaway is over, which is wonderful, right? But sometimes that doesn't make sense. And if you don't have complimentary offers, then maybe instead it's like you're both contributing $50 for $100 Amazon gift card or something like that. Whatever it looks like for you, just make sure that it makes sense for both of your audiences, whatever it is that you're giving away, right? And then always, of course, make sure that you set the logistics, the rules, the expectations, the who's creating what, who's posting what when before the giveaway starts and stuff, because that sort of stuff, it's just easier to get clear on that stuff from the beginning. So there's no confusion, so there's no rushing, and so that there's no, getting mad at each other because someone's not doing something right or pulling each other's weight or anything like that, right? Okay, the sixth way that you can collaborate with someone on social media is to bundle your offers for a pop-up sale, right? So this is kind of going off of the giveaway sort of thing, but if you both have complementary offers, such as the branding and the web design sort of thing, or I'm trying to think of something else. Oh, one of my clients is a like bottle opener, like a beer bottle opener company. So she could totally partner with like a brewery for a 6-pack, or another company that creates like beer cozies or something like that, right? If you have complimentary offers, it's awesome, especially during times like Black Friday or the holidays or anything like that, for you to partner with other brands for a pop-up sale, right? So you're both coming together and you're taking like a little bit of a discount off both of your offers, bundling them together so that someone can buy them both, but you guys don't have to take quite as much of a hit when it comes to like discounting and whatnot, right? But it's still a really great deal for your ideal customer. Also, sometimes these bundle pop-ups are just really great for your ideal customer because it takes like the worry and the thought process out of it, right? So for my client who's like has that metal bottle opener company, Blue Moose Metals, by the way. If you want to look it up, they're great. Like it really makes a lot of sense for them to partner with like a brewery and do 6-packs or something like that to give away, right? For holiday presents. And maybe they don't even necessarily need to discount their beer and or bottle openers when they bring them together. I mean, they can, but it's also just like really helpful because it creates an easy gift for people so that people don't have to go get the 6-pack and then separately go get the bottle opener. No, this is bundled together. Now their gift is complete and they don't have to think about it for the rest of the year or whatever it is. So anyway, that's just a way to think about the pop-up sales. It boosts sales for both of you. It's easier to promote something together. You're reaching both of your audiences, all that different stuff. And again, it's helpful for your ideal customer if you're giving them a bundle of something together that they would have had to spend time and energy looking for separately, right? So a few things to consider is obviously what makes the most sense to bundle together, especially for the season. Is it a holiday gift of some sort? Is it the web design and the branding because those make sense and go together? What makes sense for you guys to host a pop-up sale and bundle? And then also, how can you present this in the most enticing and least confusing way for both of your audiences, right? So it's always kind of hard when you bring two separate brands together, two separate businesses and offers together to, make it make sense in a way that is super clear and obvious for both of your audiences, right? So just make sure when you're presenting it, it's like brand and web design bundle, $500 off or whatever it is, make sure that it makes sense and you're presenting it in a way that isn't like confusing for people, right? That isn't like, wait, she told me she didn't offer web design. Why is this happening? Because you're like not clear that it's like a bundle and you're collaborating with another brand or something like that, right? Just make sure that you make it clear. Okay. The seventh way that you can collaborate with someone else is to feature each other in your content. Okay. So this is what the last two things that I'm about to talk about are kind of those collaboration ideas that you don't necessarily need the other party to do, right? So you can totally collaborate with a brand for these last two things together and say, hey, we should both like just create feature posts of each other and post about each other on each other's social media feeds, right? Like that's totally okay. But this is also something that you can just do yourself if you want to just be supportive of other businesses online, right? So what am I talking about when I say feature each other in each other's content? I'm talking about just creating a post about a brand that you love, right? So my favorite brand for whatever is this. Here's why. That's a really easy post to create. It makes the other brand feel special and supported. They will probably reciprocate if you haven't already chatted with them about reciprocating. They'll be more prone to reciprocating if you share about them and all that different stuff. And that sort of thing is also very helpful for your ideal customers. I love sharing about like my favorite tools for social media, my favorite tools for podcasting, stuff like that, because then my ideal customers see that and they're like, oh yeah, okay, this is great. And it makes the brands that I'm sharing that I love feel supported and they see me, and who knows, maybe in the future, Buzzsprout will share my podcast. I don't know. But anyway, that's a really great way to share about another brand, is just to create a post about it. You can also do this in a way where it's like a carousel post where you're featuring multiple brands, right? And this is especially good. You can totally do like a three-way collab where all three people are sharing a carousel of each other's brands or something like that, right? But this is also very easy to do for just yourself, right? So I've done this before with like my favorite tools for podcasting, Buzzsprout, Zencaster, Airtable for content planning, like that sort of thing. I would share those brands in a carousel format, and then people can see all the brands I love right in one post. You could also share like my favorite shop small businesses for this holiday season, right? You could share my favorite Black owned businesses who I love following or something like that, right? There's different ways that you can feature different brands in different content. And again, it just helps to really, make your brand feel more supportive, community oriented, collaborative, all that stuff. A few things to consider is, how do I present the brands that I want to share to my ideal customer, right? I'm going to keep bringing it back home to this because it's one of those things that we often forget about. Sometimes we show up on our brand's business account talking about another brand and we really focus on how that brand specifically helps our business. But what I want you to remember is, okay, how could this brand that I love be helpful for my ideal customers who I'm sharing it with, right? And sometimes it's similar, but sometimes it's a little nuanced and a little different. So you always want to make sure that you're not talking about, this is why I love this brand, instead of say, this is why I love this brand and this is how they can help you too. Right? Okay, we're on the 8th one, guys. I have no idea what time we're looking at. Probably way too long, but that's okay. The 8th way that you can collaborate with other people on social media is to interact with each other's content. And this is kind of one of those like, duh, or like maybe you don't think about it as a collaboration or whatnot, right? But again, it's kind of one of those ways to show support to other brands. If you like their posts, if you comment on their posts, if you share their posts to your Instagram stories, right? Even if you do, respond to their Instagram stories and get the conversations started with them, it's still a way of collaborating with other brands and supporting other brands. And even if you're not technically collaborating and it's not an official collaboration, engaging with other brands and all that different stuff really helps to get the fire started for your brand with collaborating, right? So I don't know about you, but I fully love when people comment on my Instagram posts. I love when people share my posts to their Instagram stories and all that stuff. And I do try to do the same to other people on Instagram. And it's just one of those ways to get that relationship really rolling. Also, honestly, liking and commenting specifically and sharing other people's posts to your Instagram stories is a way to actually boost your brand's own visibility in a way, right? Because other people who are following that brand could see your comment on their posts and get curious and come follow you, right? Also, if you share a brand's post to your Instagram stories and tag them, they may just reshare your story to their stories. And then that might boost your visibility of your brand too, because then their followers will see the reshare, right? So that's another way to think about it. If you're like, yeah, I feel you about like commenting on other people's posts, but I don't really feel like being super charitable. Like, don't worry. This engaging with other brands' content is actually helpful for your brand as well, right? It shows supportiveness. It helps to boost the post performance, and it can increase your visibility for your brand too. So that's just something to think about. And I encourage you really, if you do want to start doing that, to be intentional and make time to go and engage with other people's posts, other brands' posts. It helps you develop that relationship. It boosts their supportiveness and engagement. And it also actually does help to boost your brand's visibility too. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, my friend. Those are the 8 different ways that you can collaborate with someone on social media. I'll list them again right now. It's a collaboration reel, a stories takeover, live videos, trading offer and giving each other reviews and recommendations, hosting a giveaway together, bundling your offers for a pop-up sale of some sort, featuring each other in your content, and then finally just interacting with each other's content on Instagram can be so, so helpful and collaborative too. So anyway, we will see how long this episode has lasted. I have tried to speak fairly quickly, and I hope that it was super, super helpful for you, my friend. If you do want to connect on Instagram, I'm at Feel Good Social. I would love to meet up with you over there. Send me a message. I'll give you a follow. I'll answer any questions you have. And if you're interested in collaborating, hey, hit me up because I love me some collaborations. Okay. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will catch you next time I catch you. Thanks so much for listening, my friend. For show notes and a whole lot of other awesome freebies, visit feelgoodsocial.com. Simply go to feelgoodsocial.com for all the goods.